Welcome back. A Swedish court sentenced today a 61-year-old man to life in prison for genocide in Rwanda in 1994. This is the second time that such a case has been brought by the Nordic country over crimes during the conflict. The Stockholm District Court said Claver Berkindi, a Swedish citizen originally from Rwanda, was convicted of the genocide and gross crime under international law consisting of murder, attempted murder and kidnapping in Rwanda. The court said in a statement, quote, "This relates to participation in a large number of massacres during the 1994 genocide where the defendant had an informal role as a leader." Under Swedish law, courts can try Swedish citizens and other nationals for crimes committed abroad. A court said 15 crime victims had been awarded damages ranging from 3 million Rwandan franc to 10 million Rwandan franc, which is the first time that a court in Sweden has awarded damages to victims of genocide. Altogether, an estimated 800,000 people, most of them Tutsi ethnic minority and moderates of the ethnic group Hutu, were killed by Hutus over 3 months in 1994 after years of civil war. The massacres raised questions about the ability or the will of the international organizations or the states to intervene to halt mass killings of civilians. Police fired tear gas and water cannon at stone-throwing crowds protesting in central Nairobi against an election oversight body that they say is biased and should be scrapped. Officers armed with batons confronted hundreds of protesters outside the offices of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the IEBC. That's the third time they've done this over this same issue in less than a month. Kenya does not hold its next presidential election and parliamentary polls until August next year. However, politicians are already trying to galvanize their supporters in a nation where violence erupted after the 2007 vote and the opposition disputed the 2013 result. The opposition court coalition led by Raila Odinga, who lost in the 2013 votes and unsuccessfully challenged the result in court, has accused the IEBC of bias and says its members should quit. IEBC officials have dismissed the charge and say they will stay. As the numbers grew in the protests today, police fired tear gas and water cannons from trucks parked nearby at the protesters. One reporter said that he saw a protester carrying a bag of stones. Others threw them at police ranks and police struck some of the protesters with batons. Now, at the ongoing 69th Annual Cannes Film Festival, Nollywood will be represented, or is being represented by, in the short film corner by Stanley Oakari's Iterum and Babagba's Erased. Iterum is a 15-minute film that revolves around Ireti, played by Kiki Omeli, and Kome, played by Paul Utobe, who have their fates interwoven upon their rather enchanting first encounter. Their attraction is based on the unknown as they go on a journey of discovery. Not the right pictures, though, on your screen, but pictures all the same from the Cannes Film Festival. We're looking at the Egyptian film that was featured at the festival. But we do hear that Nigerians have been reportedly shunning the festival over the past 10 years, though some people have made it to the international event. A major producer and a director, we understand, is leading the so-called rebellion. Well, those are pictures that you're seeing from films that have been submitted at the Cannes Film Festival currently going on in France. We would be talking about that a little later, but let's take a look back into security in Nigeria. In Anambra State, the state government has tightened security around territorial borders with an aerial police helicopter surveillance to search out enclaves of herdsmen in and around the state. Let's not forget that it's just a few weeks back that there was that clash between herdsmen and locals in Anambra State and also in Enugu, causing much rift here in Nigeria. Governor Willie Obiano says 6 camps of the herdsmen have been discovered at the neighboring borders, though without threat to the peace of the state. Now, this is being disputed because herdsmen are saying that they're not the ones causing this crisis. There's violence in Enugu State or in Anambra, but that's still not up for discussion. He says the leaders of the Hausa Fulani community in the state have been instructed to visit the discovered blocks and to find out the identity of the various groups and inform them of the existing agreement between cattle herders and host communities in his state.
The police surveillance helicopter hovering around communities along the borders of Anambra State. Its mission to locate hideouts and enclaves of herdsmen to ensure proper identification and forestall any attack or clashes with farmers in the communities. The surveillance team visit Umumbo, one of the threatened communities in Ayammelum local government area of the state. State government had earlier fortified the area with heavy security presence following rumors of attack. The commander of 302 Artillery Regiment of Onitsha Military Cantonment gives assurances that the operation is in top gear.
So we'll be taking that story in our next program, but we'd like to return to that discussion on the Cannes Film Festival and Nigeria's participation. Joining me now is culture journalist and film critic Shaibu Hussaini, who's been monitoring the festival from where he is here in Lagos. Shaibu, thanks for joining us on Network Africa.
My pleasure.
Is Nigeria really participating in the 69th edition?
Well, there are some practitioners who traveled on their own to Cannes for the festival. They have some of their films in the short film corner, but as a nation, Nigeria was not represented because the way the Cannes is structured, there is the international village where nations have the opportunity to present their cinematic output, and Nigeria has always maintained the pavilion at the international village, but in the last 5 or 6 years, Nigeria has not had a presence as an industry. Individuals just pay their way to Cannes, and it's really disturbing for some of us who know the power of participating in such a festival as a country.
And that's really beginning to take its toll on some producers and directors who are beginning to seemingly boycott, this event. So how can we help, our film producers to showcase, what's coming from Nigeria and to go into these festivals as a body? Where does the government come in?
I think there should be a deliberate policy about internationalizing the movie industry. We have done a lot. We have exploited, we have conquered Nigeria, conquered Africa. But there's need for us now to begin to think about taking our film industry to the other part of the world, and not to allow them to only read some of these things that they write about the industry on the internet. And such a festival like Cannes, one of the most prestigious festivals in the world, provides an opportunity for you to, showcase your best. If we are saying that we are the third largest industry in the world, we should be in Cannes. We should just have a pavilion where our filmmakers can network, where people can come and make inquiries about our industries and our incentives for co-production and all that. So I think Nigeria needs to sustain that policy they started in 2000 and I think it was in 2006 or so. They started attending every year, and when it got to 2010, they stopped. And if you ask me, the pavilion costs just about 10,000 euro, and I don't know what how much we can pay for the kind of mileage that we get, for attending. Well, so we need to have a deliberate policy about trying to get our best products out of this country by attending international festivals such as
I'm really
attending international meets.
Shaibu, I'm really hoping that the government is really listening. Okay, I'm really hoping the government is listening, because this is important. I mean, it's all part of being part of the international community. It's all part of showcasing Nigeria in a positive light. Thanks a lot for joining us on the program, Shaibu Hussaini, culture journalist, and thank you for watching Network Africa. I am Amarachi Ubani. I'll see you next time.